Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, super.
Super. Welcome to everybody. My name is Ilya. I work for Antal, Russia. I will just share with you my PowerPoint presentation. For this webinar, we have some extra time in the end, so we should be able to answer quite many questions. Last time we did this webinar, we had 100 and something questions, so hopefully we can answer as many as possible. And Anastasia, she will reply to the ones she can on the chat, and you can ask in English or in Russian, whatever you prefer. So hopefully you can see my presentation.
Yeah, super. Thanks.
Cool. My name is Ilya. I am a business development manager at Antal, Russia. Just shortly about myself, I was born in Odessa. When I was around 5, I moved to Denmark, stayed there some years, and with my stepfather and my mom, we lived in Singapore, in Qatar. Then I studied, or did my high school and my university in Denmark again. And since that, I've worked in Bali, in the US, in Amsterdam, Singapore again, Denmark, and then now in Russia. I will share with you some of my stories from different countries as we go along. Just briefly, where I work now, it's a company called Antal. We are a global recruitment company. We are currently in 35 or even 36 countries, covering basically all over the world, almost whole Europe, everywhere except Scandinavia. In Russia, we've been 25 years, have approximately 100 employees in Moscow, then we have some in St. Petersburg, Kiev, Tashkent, and so on. And I will get back to our company in the end and how we can help you come to Europe if that's what you want. Throughout this presentation, we'll have different questionnaires. We'll ask you different questions and please reply to them as I will use this as part of my presentation. So this is the first one. Anastasia, can you? Yeah, perfect. So this is about what motivates you where you work now or why you choose to work at different places. So you can choose between salary, job tasks, colleagues, location, benefits, or other. Yep. I will vote myself.
Let's wait a few seconds.
Yep. So I think this will indicate will be quite important indicator on how and where you can find a job. So it really depends on your motivation. I can say, all right, there you go. So as I kind of predicted, almost half of you looked said purely salary, then some work tasks, location, and so on. I am definitely opposite. Salary is probably on the 3rd place for me. My first priority first is job task and colleagues. Salary is on the 3rd place. For me, it's most important that the place I work and the things I do, I like them. I'm proud of it. The colleagues can help you develop and make your time even more fun because you spend more time with your colleagues than you do at home. And salary for me has never been the biggest issue. You know, every time I had a job interview, I made a plan where I said, okay, that's the minimum salary I need to survive. This is the salary I need to have a good life, and this is like the dream scenario, right? So when I went to job interviews, I was always prepared saying, okay, I want this job, I want these colleagues, I want this and this, therefore I can agree to a salary of medium level and so on. So just what I want to share with you is when you have job interviews, prepare the amount you need. Don't exaggerate. And if you want to go to Europe, that should be your motivation, going to Europe. So location, so not salary. So that's my advice. Focus more on the other things than salary. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the market in job market in Europe. In general, the presentation overall will be Europe and the world, but we'll have a look at Europe first. We've written the main problem in Europe is unemployment. Maybe not the main problem, but if we look at the job market or unemployment rate, we can definitely see that Europe is divided in two parts, South and North Europe. In South Europe, Greece, Spain, Italy, a little bit Portugal, even the Balkan countries, the unemployment rate is really, really high. In Spain, it has been like this since 1980s. Mainly because, or first of all, is demand and supply. So there's simply too many people to available jobs. And the jobs that are available are not interesting or well paid enough for the people in Spain. And most of them are taken by migrants because nobody wants to do it. While in Northern Europe, the employment rate is way smaller. It's because the economy is strong in those countries. Other companies coming from the US, for example, they invest in Germany, Holland, Denmark, Ireland. And also those countries are quite good at finding jobs for people and pushing them to get a job. So when you look at this, when you see there's a lot of unemployment in Spain and Greece, it doesn't mean there's a lot of jobs, actually opposite. And especially when it comes to people aged 18 to 24 in South Europe, there's more than half of them don't have jobs. So when you consider where you want to move to in Europe, keep this in mind. If we look at the jobs that are needed right now in EU, we have healthcare. There's a lot of need of doctors. For example, in Denmark, there's just such a high demand for doctors. We have doctors coming from Ukraine. We have some from Russia. We have some from Syria, Iraq, etc. Because they demand a little bit less salary, and actually they are in general at least as well educated as the Danish ones. So everybody who has to do with something with medicine or healthcare, there's a lot of need for that. A lot of need of legal positions, lawyers. This can be a bit tricky because, well, the law in Russia is, of course, different with law in Denmark. So if you are a lawyer, for example, or working with legal positions, you have to consider whether the language barrier and the knowledge will be a big factor. Same with education. There's a need of teachers. Of course, not Danish-speaking teachers or English-speaking teachers, but more like good teachers in math or in science and so on. So, but again, the issue is if you move to Denmark to teach biology, you need to know Danish language, or if you go to Spain, you need to know Spanish. So, when you move to Europe as a teacher, you need more or less always to speak the local language. So it's not enough with English. Sales and the BDM, business development manager, who I am, I think it's one of the best opportunities to get a job abroad. Any company in the world, really any company, needs a good salesperson. If you're good at sales or business development, and you know English or the local language, you have a great chance of getting a job. It's the same way I got a job in Russia. I have a Danish passport, so for me, it's really hard to get a job in Russia with a Danish passport. And one of the only jobs I could get was business development management, where I can use my people skills, I can use my sales skills, etc. So as a salesperson, there's a good chance for you to come to the country. Psychology, I actually didn't know it was really in need, but apparently also psychology. And finally, IT people. There's huge demand of all type of IT people, developers, whatever. And in this case, most situations you just need a little bit of English, and that's it, because your communication is online. It is, you know, the IT coding language, and you don't have to speak to your colleagues that much. So IT positions are needed, and you can really get them. And there's a lot of demand of employees within IT. So you can work remote, or you can go to a specific country. So there's a lot of options. All right. This slide is about salaries in Europe. Let me just point out, these salaries are very not accurate because it's hard to calculate the exact average salary. For example, in Denmark, I got a fixed amount in Denmark salary. Then I got a work phone, which I could use privately, which also counted such a salary. I got paid transport. So it's also something added to my salary if you calculate in numbers. So don't look at the figures, but look at which countries we're talking about. Again, we're talking about northern countries, Scandinavia. We're talking about Switzerland, Germany, some part of Germany. The salaries are higher there. So are taxes, but the salaries are higher. And then we look at the Balkan countries. We can look at Spain, Italy. The salaries are way lower there. Also, if you say Denmark, in one place in Copenhagen, you get maybe 5,000 euros. If you go to another part of Denmark, you get 2,000 euros. So even don't look at a country, but look at specific areas. Germany, the salaries in Berlin are way lower than in Munich. So just you have to do your research before you move to, or if you look at specific city or country. And also, I think it's important not to look as much at salaries, but at living costs. You go to Denmark, you get, for example, I don't know, 3,000 euros. Sounds good, but to rent an apartment is at least 1,000 euros. To buy milk is, I don't know, 4 or 5 euros. Well, it is cheaper in Greece. So don't look at the salary. Don't look at the numbers in front of you, but look more at the living costs and take from there. Below, there's a link called, or it says numbeo.com. It's a really good website where you can compare prices on food and clothes and gives you a good understanding of what it costs to live in a specific country. I use it a lot when I go on holiday. So I check how much is, I don't know, a beer in Thailand, how much it is in Moscow, and then I can plan my traveling budget. So it's good for traveling and for finding out your living costs. All right, moving ahead, remote work. Remote work has not been that popular if you go a year back before. If I remember, just about 15% of employees wanted to work from home a year ago. Now, because of the pandemic, everything has changed. So it made a new online digital world for us. I have one more question for you. Right now, do you work from office, home? Do you work 50-50? Are you a student? Please vote. And don't think about like today, but like go back a few months, or like, you know, past 3 or 4 months, just because the pandemic has been on and off. But oops, there's a spelling mistake. Do not work. All right. It's kind of actually similar to what we have at Antal. I work basically only from home. I have maybe 1 or 2 meetings a month out, but the rest is from home. But other colleagues of mine, they do like 50-50. So half time they're office, half time they're at home. But if you look at those stats and compare them to 1 year ago, I mean, it's really, really changed. And next year at Antal, we will always work 50-50. A lot of companies, a lot of clients I know, they'll be working only from home. So the world is changing, definitely. Yeah, funny picture. That's how I've been working basically since April. The good thing is that I can wake up, I can make a coffee, I don't have to be in the metro, I don't have to be queuing everywhere. So there is, and I can just take my shorts on and then I'm ready for work. One more question, just to follow up on the one we had before. What do you prefer looking into the future? Because it's interesting to see, like, I really, I miss my colleagues. There's a lot of, good and bad sides of working from home only. The good thing is, of course, transport is more flexible. I can, I don't work from 9 till 6. I work from when I wake up till I go to bed. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's see. Cool. These stats, it could be interesting to see the people who voted that the main motivator is salary. Are they the ones who prefer to stay home then, or not? So it's maybe there's some sort of coincidence. We made a statistic. I think it's 1 or 2 months old, where 2/3 were like, they didn't mind working from home, but it was not the best. While 21 second, where 20% didn't want to go back to the office. So it's a bit the same what I said. It's going to be the same in the future, so get ready for it. Also, the good thing from working from home is that you can work for any company in the world. It doesn't matter where they're located. In reality, I could be sitting in, I don't know, Brazil, doing this call, doing my work. So as long as I have a phone, a computer, I can work wherever. So for many positions, you can work for international company based in Germany, working from Russia, for example. So even if you do not want to relocate, you still have a chance to work for a company abroad. So it's a new possibility. Let's talk about relocation. Are you ready to move to another country? Yes, maybe, or no. I have always been ready. I live in a suitcase. Honestly, I have no furniture. I have 2 big suitcases. And every time I move to a new country, I just sold whatever I had, put it in a suitcase, and that's it. Actually, on my LinkedIn profile, you can go and check one of my earliest posts. When I moved to Russia, I had 2 suitcases. That's it. So that's my life. Makes it quite easy. All right, that's pretty cool. Well, okay, makes sense. There's a lot of who are ready to relocate. Otherwise, you won't be here for this webinar. Cool. Also interesting to see the ones who said maybe. What is the reason why they are not? Is it the specific country, or is it? What is it? We asked our candidates or our network about relocating, and in 2000, if you go from 2018 to 2019, there was a sharp rise of people who were ready to relocate. So from 46 to 57%. While from 2019 to 2020, the number has fallen. The only reason for that is the pandemic, because people are afraid now of changing jobs. If you go to a new country, a new job, what if you don't pass the probation, then you're stuck somewhere. So this number is going to change again. this number, it will increase. So I think by the end of next year, maybe you'll have 60% who are ready to relocate. At the same time, if people are motivated only by salary, if they can work remote for a company, I don't know, in Switzerland, so they get a higher salary but still staying in Russia. So that could also affect whether people want to relocate or not. And again, just remember, if you want to relocate, look at the standard of living. When I came from Denmark to Russia, my living standard increased here. My salary did not, but because things are a bit cheaper here than Denmark, the culture is a bit different, which I also like. So my living standards have increased by moving here. So think about it. All right, so we have another statistic. It's looking at whether a person works for international or a Russian company versus whether they want to move abroad or not. Quite similar stats, but we can see that if people are working currently in an international company in Russia, they are more ready or more motivated to relocate. I think a few reasons for that. If you work in an international company, you might have colleagues sitting everywhere in the world, which makes it more interesting, exciting to go to that country where they are. Also, if you work now in an international company, your choice could have been that you at some point dreamt of moving abroad. So it does make sense, these figures. Cool. Hope you're not tired of questions. I think this is one of the last ones. Very interesting one. Where do you want to go? I don't know if you can choose several answers. No, choose only one.
Only one option.
Yeah. Where do you want to go for work? Let me choose. I want to go here. I chose Japan.
Why?
I've been working in the US, in Asia, in Europe. So either it's going to be Africa, Brazil, or Japan. And one of my friends I spoke to yesterday, he's American, was in the military, and he was stationed in Okinawa in Japan, and he said it was the best year of his life. So,
wow.
And it's good salary if you talk about money. Okay, so we have Europe. Nobody's gonna stay in the CIS. So we have Europe, a little bit Asia. I'm disappointed. Don't you want to go with me to Japan?
And
US, Canada.
Australia, 0 results. Do you remember the previous webinar results?
I think it was kind of similar, to be honest. No, I'm not sure actually.
20% of our participants wanted to go to Australia.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'll come to that. Okay. So you guys who are listening now want to go to Europe or the US? We did the same questionnaire some time ago, and we saw that 58% and 77% wanted to go to Europe and US, and I really don't understand how it can happen, but 33% wanted to go to Australia. I've spoken to a few of the people who were at the webinar, and they also couldn't understand why Australia. It's a great country. I've been there 2 times, but I don't have any friends, or I don't know anybody who moved from US or from Europe to Australia. So when we did these statistics, we should have asked people why you want to go there. Looking at this graph, okay, going back to this, you all want to go to Europe or the US, let's say roughly, right? A good example, I went to Los Angeles a few years back to Hollywood, just for a few days holiday. Went to a few bars, a restaurant, and all the waiters there, all the bartenders were actors, or people who wanted to become actor and failed. A lot of beggars on the street, begging for money. Also, all actors. So what made me understand at that time was everybody who have a dream to become a movie star, they went to the only place they maybe know or seen movies from Hollywood. They all went there. There was this American dream for them. Spent all the money, everything, and only less than 1% make it. Even more than less than 1%, maybe like 0.1. But if I talked to some of them and they told me that, okay, if they were clever enough, they would have gone to New York, or they would go to Europe, or I don't know, Japan again. There's movies in Japan, good movies, where they need actors. So what I want to point out is that look at this map and go to a place where nobody else is going. Okay, let's say China, there's Hong Kong, there's Shanghai, great cities. I mean, to be honestly, way more fun than Copenhagen or Berlin. There's more jobs, they pay more. So look at this map and consider other countries. Definitely, I would if I were you. We also looked a little bit comparing your language skills compared to whether you're ready to move abroad or not. Okay, so this is just English language skill, but I think it's going to be the same for other languages. The better you are at the language, the more ready you are to relocate, which makes sense. But I also like that half of the people who answered who only have conversational English or specific language or basic, they are ready to relocate, which is awesome. I like when people are not afraid of jumping into things. Of course, consider what kind of job you want to have. Again, if you want to be a biology teacher in a Danish school, then you need to know Danish fluently, right? So keep this in mind. Okay, let me try to explain this graph. We looked and found out what type of people are ready and will succeed in relocating. So people who are working currently or worked within marketing, within sales, jobs where you have to be social, you have to be creative, where you can be a little bit crazy. Those people have successfully relocated. This is because, like, for example, I'm social, really social. I'm not afraid of things. I fail a lot of times. Each time I fail, I become better at things. Each time I'll do this presentation, hopefully I'll be even better. So these type of people, they are not afraid. If they fail, they continue fighting and have a chance of succeeding. Well, technology, so IT, I think we mean here. Why they will succeed as well is because the language barrier, language is not that important. I have a lot of clients who need IT developers, programmers, etc. Language-wise, the only requirement is that you can, speak a little bit to your colleagues. Just know, not even, just average English or even less, because you're going to be coding or doing IT stuff, which is like a completely computer language, right? So IT positions, sales and marketing, they have a good chance in succeeding. On the other hand, we're talking a bit about positions where people are, let's say, less social. For example, it's going to be like my wife. She's even in accounting. She prefers to be working in Excel. She doesn't want to speak to people, and she's way more confident sitting in her, let's say, little box doing her work, and she's amazing in figures and numbers and so on. But she doesn't want to be speaking to people or trying new things, for example. As I also said about admin, or it can be again teachers, they have really hard time relocating. Doctors, if you want to be a doctor in Germany, you need to speak German at quite a good level, or same in Danish, So you have to consider who you are, and whether you are ready or can relocate and figure fit in that specific culture or country. We have actually at Antal we have something called a Thomas test. You can buy it online or you can do it via us. This test puts you in a box. There's like it's called a disc box, where it determines who you are as a person or personality. There's 4 different types. There's D for dominant, I for, I don't know what it is. Anyways, D and I, it's people like I'm an I, interactive, I think maybe. Like speaking, not afraid of things. We are good at deciding and etc. So we will be able to relocate statistically. While DISC, so SC, they're people who are more back-end, who prefer to do their job and not be disturbed, if you put it that way. It's only statistics, so I'm not going to put everybody in a box, but in general, that's how it works. Before we go to next page, which is about how to find a job, I'd like to ask you 2 questions about LinkedIn. First of all, do you have a LinkedIn profile? If you don't, then get one. Actually, LinkedIn, maybe you know, but LinkedIn is actually banned in Russia, but there are ways of getting around that ban. Not gonna say how to do it, probably not allowed to say it, but Google it, how to get access to LinkedIn in Russia, then you will find a way. All right, guys. Just a question. Are you who are listening today, is it everybody the same from last time? Because last time it was 76% who said yes, exactly the same amount. That's pretty cool. Okay, next question is, do you need help or do you need advice on using LinkedIn? Advice, I mean, is how to make a profile, how to make it attractive, how to find the job, how to find jobs, or how to pop up. So this kind of stuff. All right. So 2/3. Why I'm asking this question is because I was considering, or Antal and myself are considering to make some training or some course in January, February on how to use LinkedIn. So I will basically make a small presentation about LinkedIn and then show you examples how to do it. So thank you for answering. And it looks that more people need it than they don't. So I think we will let you know if we make this course, this training, and you can join. Cool. Okay. So basically one of the last slides I have is how to get a job. First advice is back to LinkedIn. Via LinkedIn, you can, there's a lot of vacancies. You can, go and search for a specific country and see what kind of vacancies there are. You can search for a specific job title. Let's say you are a physician. You can see a physician, and then there's all the countries where you can find a job. So it's a really good way of finding jobs. Also, you can find basically any contact you need. You can go Coca-Cola in South Africa, and then you can see all the directors and you can write them directly. So first advice, LinkedIn, make it perfect. Otherwise, there's something called monster.com, indeed.com. These are 2 of the largest portals. So it's like headhunter.ru. Then there's something called Glassdoor. Before, originally, Glassdoor was a place you can go in and check, see some info about a specific company. You can go and see the salary levels. You can see what other employees say about this specific company. And now you can also see vacancies. So it's a really good place to go find a job or find vacancies and also check about that specific employer. Another way is, of course, if you are still studying, is to go and study in a European or any university. In Singapore, they have amazing universities. So Singapore. The good thing about universities is that after you graduate, graduates, the best graduates in the world, they are really in demand. So if you graduate in Singapore as a, I don't know, IT person, whatever, there's a lot of companies who will be standing in a queue to get you. This is a really good way to get a job abroad if you finish your education in some country and with good grades. Of course, you can contact Antal. As I mentioned, we are a recruitment company, so and located in 35 countries. You are welcome to go on our website, antal.com. Have a look at different positions, different countries, and apply. You never know. Otherwise, there's you can do internships in universities. No idea how it works. Apparently, you can do it. And of course, I would say in good way, and I know many people have done it, is working for international companies in, for example, Russia. And then going up the ladder, so showing good results, and that at some point there's a good chance that you could be asked if you want to relocate to their head office in UK or wherever. For example, Antal, we always really open that our colleagues can go relocate to any other Antal country they want, if they deserve it or if they are qualified enough. So working for an international company in Russia can and maybe even will probably lead to a chance to relocate. And also, as I mentioned before, because of working remotely, you can actually work for a Russian company in Russia, but be situated in Jamaica or wherever. So if your job allows it, you can move anywhere in the world as long as you have a computer and a phone. So you don't have to move abroad to find a job, but you can actually move abroad just to live there and work remote. I think this was it. If you have your LinkedIn, you can QR code scan it, add me on LinkedIn, or you can email me. I prefer LinkedIn, so you can add me. If you have any questions, please write me. I will try to answer them. And otherwise, I think we have quite some time, maybe like 20 minutes or so for questions you might have.
Yeah. And the first questions, could you please tell us about opportunities, job opportunities for lawyers from Russia?
They like it depends where in which country, but law is different in all countries. Okay, let's say EU have similar law in all countries, but going from Russia to EU, there are different legal stuff you need to know. So that could be a challenge for you. There is a need for it, but you might need to take some extra education in the specific country. That's my guess, at least. They need you, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and question from Helena, lawyer: how much years should I learn law in Germany, for example?
One more time.
How much years should I learn legal law in Germany, for example, to get the job?
Oh wow, that is, I have no idea. Sorry, because I mean, if you already have some legal background, then maybe less. If you're starting from scratch, then normally it takes 5 years, I think. In Denmark, I think it takes 5 years, so bachelor and then a master. So from scratch, 5 years. And if you want to learn in Germany, then you also need to know German, I guess.
I think, you can ask this question our colleague Kirill, who's responsible for our legal practice in Antal. And we will check any opportunities in our Antal, Germany office. Cool. And the same Good questions point. For financial specialists. what opportunities they can find in Europe abroad?
In the world, yeah. So financially, so you should go to probably the spots where it's financial headquarters, if we can put it that way. So, for example, London, you have New York, of course, you have Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong. Israel, by the way, is getting pretty popular. So, where specifically is hard to say, but I would look at the capitals of the big countries now, like not Washington, but New York. And otherwise, Israel, why I mentioned them is because it's really growing fast. It's a startup country, or it's getting to become a startup country. If you love startups, so of course it's Silicon Valley in the US, it's Amsterdam, Berlin, and now Israel. So if you want to work within finance in a startup company, then Israel is a interesting opportunity. But otherwise, Hong Kong and Singapore is something that could be interesting for you guys.
Thanks, Ilya. And comment from Galina: aren't there enough sales managers in Europe? They still need.
You know what? All my clients I have, I hope my boss is not listening. Wherever I do a good job with a client, they ask me if I want to work for them. It means that if you are good at sales, there'll always be a space for you. I mean, just example, if a company has a limited budget and you as a salesperson come to them, a good salesperson, and say, I'm going to earn you €500,000 a month. They'll definitely take you because they will earn money on having you. So if you, I mean, basically I could work roughly anywhere they speak English, Russian, or Danish, right? So I could go to Brazil in reality. And if you can sell yourself at the interview, if you're a good salesperson, then definitely. Like when I started working for Antal, I didn't know anything about recruitment. So somehow I charmed my way in. So yep, there's always need for good salespeople.
And a question from Evgeny: what is the benefit to hire Russian as sales or BDM manager for Europe people, your company?
Well, okay, if they want to expand into Russia, it's a good opportunity because you know the language. Even if they want to expand to Ukraine or some other countries where they do speak Russian, it's a good opportunity. But otherwise, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're Russian or you are from Kazakhstan or from wherever, because if you go there, you have like, if in general you have to sell in German or in English if you go to Germany, for example, right? So there it doesn't matter where you're from. Of course, if you have to sell to Russian companies, then it's good to know Russian. I have a few clients who are expanding, Russian companies expanding abroad, and they are hiring in Germany Russian-speaking salespeople because it'll be easier for the Russian head office to communicate with that person in Russian, and that person can then sell the product in German in Berlin, right? So it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're good at selling, then yeah.
Next question and comment from Andre. Recently, I came across a job opportunity in Germany, and job description had a point of having a formal education in the area of work, IT. So my question is, how common is this practice in Europe? Is it really important to have a suitable formal education when the market is hungry for qualified IT people?
I think actually come to most jobs. Okay, if you're a lawyer, if you are a doctor, then you need the full education. I think in Europe they look more at experience. My education is a bachelor, but I get like all my friends, they finish bachelors. I actually almost don't know anybody who have higher than bachelors, but still have good jobs, good salaries, etc. Same with IT guys. Ones I know, they they have some sort of education, but not necessarily the higher one. One of my friends, good example, one of my friends, he did a master degree. So he finished his education 2 years after me. At this date, I'm getting way more salary than he because I have more experience. So he has better education, but I have more experience. So I would suggest you have some sort of education, but in general, experience is more important.
Question from Vasily. What chance to be hired for Russian in Europe without European education or experience? Europe experience.
Was it a specific job or just in general?
I think it's general.
So I would say that education, like, more or less, on general, Russians are better educated than
technical.
technical. All right. Okay. Just to talk about education. Education in Russia is seen as higher level than in Europe. Of course, not in all universities in Europe, but in general. So education question is no problem. If you have a Russian education, a diploma, it's as good as if you have a European one. That's my opinion, at least. And experience. Again, doesn't really matter. Like we have a, now it's just China, right? But we have a Chinese client. They told us they need IT candidates. For them, they didn't matter if it's 1 or 2 years experience. If the person has worked in Russian companies or I don't know, any other companies. So so for technical, for IT at least, doesn't matter where you've worked, as long as you know your stuff. If you know Java or whatever, you know, right? So education, Russians are definitely good enough. Experience working in European countries, nah. Don't worry about that.
A lot of comments about VPN, about LinkedIn, and a question from Alexei. Where is the best place to build a career?
Well, it depends on who you are, right? I like moving around. So my career is, I've been working 1 year in this company, 2 years in that company. So I built my career is like this international salesperson. So where, like my career started in Bali, I think, yeah, Bali, as a marketing salesperson, and brought me here. So where to start? Wherever you like. I think like when oh yeah, good question, because I have a small story about when I got my job in the US. So my friend and I would like to work 1 year somewhere abroad, somewhere warm. So we applied for a marketing sales job, basically in every single country where there was a nice beach, everywhere, right? And then this company, event company, wrote to us, said they would like to have us like on a Skype interview, and location was Hollywood. So we were like, whoa, okay, mate, we're gonna go to Hollywood. And then they said, yep, we're gonna take you for 1 year project. Come to us, send us your documents, your passport copy, and well, we're waiting for you. So my friend and I, we got the job, started looking for tickets to fly to Hollywood, to Los Angeles, and then we started looking for a hotel near the office, just to, in the beginning. And then we started looking, we took the papers out, documents, to see where we're gonna work, the address. And then on the address it said Hollywood/Miami. So apparently there's an area called Hollywood in Miami. So we had to rebook our flights, not go to LA, but go to Miami to work. Luckily, really luckily, it was a warm place as well, nice place, but could have been anywhere. I mean, it could be Hollywood, Alaska, if they had that, So so what I want to say is that where to start a career, it's up to you. I mean, dream big. If you're a lawyer, then maybe you're a bit, maybe it's harder for you to go to Brazil to start a career. But if you're a IT or salesperson, you can go there. So start wherever you want. You can always pack your bags and move.
Thanks, Ilya. And personal questions from Galina. What was your motivation to move to Russia?
My motivation was my father lives in Perezslav, not far from here. Then my wife is from Moscow, so we had we were discussing that either she would move to Denmark to live with me in Denmark, or I would move here. And as I like living everywhere, so I would like to try to live in Russia. As my family is Russian, or my father and mother are Russian, but I never lived here, so I decided to try it out. Also to learn the culture, to get hair on my chest, as we say. So it's my family and a new challenge, and to learn Russian.
Question from Gleb and one of our guests. What job opportunities for logistics specialists, logistic managers in Europe?
Don't know. That's a bit specific. I can't answer that. If you could email me the question, then I can ask our logistics department to make an answer, because I can't answer that. Sorry.
Question from Denise. Where I can find some information about work permit in Europe? Heard about blue card is the best options.
Google. I think I would Google it and then see what pops up. Also, you can call the embassies if you want to, if specific country you want to go to. That's my suggestion. I mean, yeah, call the embassy. They can definitely explain to you. Probably also have it on their website. But otherwise, yeah, Google it. There should be plenty of info there.
Question from Ilya, talking about Europe education. What is the more important level of university rating or something like this program? MBA, MCS, or something like that?
Do you mean rating? Like like in Denmark, there's two big business universities. I went to Copenhagen Business College, and there's Copenhagen Business School. Business School is a bit higher level, better grades. And to be honest, I don't see a difference between people I know who went to one university than the other. I think in the end, we ended up on the same level. So specific universities, I have no idea. I know if it's business, then London Business School is amazing. And you can take MBAs, you can also take them online now. So that could also be a possibility, especially with the pandemic now. Nobody really knows how it's going to look like in the 6 months. So also check out the online MBA courses. I don't know if I answered the question correctly, but.
Thanks, Ilya. And I think this is the last questions from Alexei. Questions and comments. But where your job's developing or you go for the same position to the same position? How did you make it to grow?
My career?
Yep.
So I started in Denmark as my first proper job. Company called Groupon. It's like Big Leon in Russia, and I was working there as a key account manager, helping Groupon to start in Denmark, to develop in Denmark. Then after 1 year on LinkedIn, actually, I got a message from a recruiter in Amsterdam. They're bankrupt now, but there was a Dutch company. They needed help to develop the Danish market. So basically, they headhunted me via LinkedIn. I came there to Amsterdam for 1 year, or 1.5 year, and I helped them enter the Danish market. I became more manager position, had people under me, salespeople. I was training and helping. After that, I was headhunted to Denmark for a third company within deal sites. So it's a third company similar to Big Leon, where I stayed for almost 5 years. So that was like my career step, going from, can't say bigger companies because Groupon was the biggest one, but I was looking more at the challenges and how I could help. And then finding job in Moscow, as I mentioned, was really hard. So I jumped into, like, went on LinkedIn, and then I wrote everybody I knew and connected with people I didn't know. And the position, like business development management here, it's quite different to what I did. I never really done what I do now, like, finding new clients all the time and so on. So for me, it was quite new. For me, it is a career step up, definitely, way more fun. So how I did it, luck. It was recruiters who found me at the perfect timing, and the job at Antal was random cup of coffee with the general manager. So luck. Luck.
Okay, thanks, Ilya. And we have 2 last questions. First one from Nikita. What age preferences limits to get job in Europe they have?
You know what? It's actually a good, interesting point, and big difference that in Russia, it seems that if you reach some point, like, I don't know, 50 or 45, and suddenly it seems that it's harder to get a job because of the age problem. In Europe, it's opposite. The older you are, the easier it is because you have more experience. Like my stepfather, he's really, really happy that he's like 55 now, because he simply gets much better salary, and way easier to find a job for him because he just has so many years experience. I can't wait until I'm 55, because then hopefully there'll be more money rolling in, and higher positions and so on. So there's no age limit. I think in Denmark it's 72 when you go on, when you retire. And even if you are 70 and you say lose your job, right? You can become a consultant, because you have, again, huge network. You have 50 years of work experience or something like that. So everybody would need your help. So age is not a problem. I think the older you are, the easier it is for you to get a job in Europe, at least.
Thanks, Ilya. And final questions from Radik. I think this is a question for your education first, but definitely. What level of TOEFL should I have for position in Europe or USA?
What level of what?
TOEFL. English certificate level.
It depends. Again, if you're gonna work as a salesperson in the US, then you need to have really good English level, so you can communicate freely, and not just communicate personal level, but also business wise. Like my Russian level is not that high, so I can communicate in Russian, but it's really hard for me to sell something in Russian. If you want to be a doctor in Denmark, then you need a doctor in UK, right? So your English level has to be really high, especially within the healthcare wording. So it really depends. If you're IT person, then your English level doesn't have to be that high. So, yeah.
Thanks, Ilya. Thanks, everyone. So, guys, we will send you the video and the presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Ilya, me, or our colleagues from.
Good luck out there, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Bye. Have a good evening.
Bye bye.